either you lied on January 30th or you're lying now. And the reason being is because I'll quote back the words that you used at that time. You said, quote,
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Fox. The CBC tried to hide it, but it could only stay a secret for so long. A bombshell report dropped today found that not only did the CBC pay their executives bonuses, not only did they pay them millions of taxpayer dollars in bonuses, it also seems that they lied to the Standing Committee on Canadian Heritage, which could result in yet another breach of privilege against Rachel Thomas.
Let's take a look. So here's an article that dropped from the Toronto Sun not too long ago, earlier today. CBC executives, managers were paid almost $15 million in bonuses. Report seems to contradict testimony of broadcaster's president, CEO, that would be Catherine Tate, who's in the picture, at Commons Committee. Federal documents show that CBC executives and managers in the 2023-24 fiscal year ending March 31st gave themselves $14.9 million in bonuses, according to Blacklock's reporter. All 46 network executives received bonuses worth $3,020,021, said an inquiry of ministry tabled in the House of Commons, and another 1,140 managers, 99% of those on the payroll, also received bonuses worth $11,883,734. Figures were disclosed at the request of Opposition House Leader Andrew Scheer. Quote, with regard to bonuses paid out at Crown Corporations in the 2023-24 fiscal year, how many and what percentage of officials at or above the executive level received bonuses? End quote, Scheer said. Those records seem to contradict the testimony by CBC President and CEO Catherine Tate to the Heritage Committee on May 7th, when she repeatedly claimed that she had no idea whether or not bonuses were paid. Quote, are you going to be awarded a bonus for 2023? End quote, asked Conservative MP Rachel Thomas. Tate replies, quote, after internal deliberations with the board of directors at our June board meeting, once we've had a chance to present the audited financial statements, there will be a discussion, end quote. I'm referring to fiscal year 2023, which ended in March 2024, said Thomas. We have not issued any performance pay, replied Tate. Tate told the Heritage Committee that the public broadcaster was facing financial hardship and was cutting 346 jobs, including 205 vacant positions and 141 layoffs. We are not out of the woods, Tate testified. Tate is paid $497,000 annually, with her CEO bonus calculated at an average of 20% extra, or about $100,000 annually. The inquiry document made no mention of Tate's testimony. Overall subsidies for the CBC this year are worth a record $1.38 billion.
So if I understand this correctly, Catherine Tate makes six figures as a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
That's more than most Canadians make in an entire year.
100%.
And $1.38 billion of what that corporation brings in is from the government. It's from taxpayers.
Oh, yeah.
That is disgusting.
But let's just go back to a section of Tate's testimony on May 7th, which we covered, by the way.
Ms. Tate, at our previous committee meeting on January 30th, you confirmed that you are at the decision-making table with regard to bonuses. In fact, I'll quote you directly. You said, they make that decision based on the data that we present to them. In other words, the board makes a decision with regards to bonuses. They sign off on them based on the information that we, your management team, which you are the executive leader of, yes, make to them. So ultimately then, you have a voice at the management table and you have a voice at the board table. you have two places where you get to speak to whether or not the top 8 executives of the CBC get a bonus and how much. You are one of those top 8. Ms. Tate, what is the recommendation that went forward with regard to the bonuses for the top 8 executives for the 2023 fiscal year?
I really am sorry to seem difficult here, but the 22-23 year has already passed.
I
this
didn't
year,
ask about that.
So for 23-24,
I'm asking for the 2023
24
fiscal
year.
Sure, you can include those 3 extra months in 24.
That's our fiscal year. It ends at the end of March 24. So for the 23-24, no recommendation has been prepared as yet. We are still reviewing our final results. We are a large corporation, $1.8 billion. A lot of data has to be reviewed, financials have to be audited, and KPIs have to be assessed and evaluated. All of that package goes to the board in June, in mid-June, at which point we will discuss it. And by the way, I am not part of that 8. I am separate as a governor and council appointee. I do not participate in the performance pay that the other executives participate in.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Either you lied on January 30th or you're lying now. And the reason being is because I'll quote back the words that you used at that time. You said, quote, at the end of the fiscal year, which will be the end of March 2024, the board of directors will decide. So in other words, at the end of March 2024, which has now passed, it's May 7th, there would be a decision that is made. Now you just told me no decision has yet been made.
I really take objection to being called a liar, which has happened several times. It is, I really, Madam Chair, this is not the first time that I have been called a liar by certain members of this committee, and it actually is the first time in a 40-year career that anybody has ever addressed me in this way. So I want to make a personal objection. Having said that, I made it clear that at the board meeting following the end of the fiscal year, we would be reviewing the results for the fiscal year. That meeting is always held in June. It gives us the time to review all the results, to get them audited, and to prepare the package in English and in French for the board of directors. This is a very large corporation. We do not do this overnight.
So, Ms. Tate, there are two discrepancies here. One, I'm looking at your website and it says senior executive team and your picture is shown there. So you are one of the members of the senior executive team. So point of clarification there. And two, I am reading your direct quote where you say that bonus decisions will be made in March of 2024.
That's what she testified to on May 7th. No recommendations have been made. Well,
they made those recommendations awful fast then, didn't they?
Yeah, but it would contradict what she said, because if she tried to say in this committee that those decisions happen in June. Well, then why is there a government document stating that there are very precise numbers? These aren't approximations, everybody. $3,020,021 and $11,883,734. Those are really specific. So you can't just say, somebody spitballed and put them in a report. Those are very specific numbers. So to me, yeah, you absolutely seem to have been lying in committee. Now, let's follow that through. You are not allowed to lie to a parliamentary committee.
No, you are not.
If you are found to be lying to a parliamentary committee, that is a breach of privilege to the person that's asking you the questions, but it's also a breach of privilege of every other member of parliament in that committee.
And you can be held in contempt of parliament.
So some of you may be asking, well, how is that a breach of privilege? Well, if you lie in a parliamentary committee, it undermines the assumption that all of the testimony that happens in a parliamentary committee is the truth. And the whole point of parliamentary committees is they have witnesses that come to testify. The parliamentarians get information. They take that information. They discuss it, debate it, and then make recommendations and write reports that are sent to the House of Commons. And those reports are then used to guide legislation, to inform legislation, inform possible motions. There's a lot of consequences to what happens at parliamentary committee. So if somebody is lying, that by definition prohibits the ability for the members of parliament to actually do their job as parliamentarians. That is parliamentary privilege. So that would breach that privilege. And that's why they would be held in contempt of parliament. So now you have the CBC that knew they were in a lot of crap because they wanted their bonuses, even though they laid off 140 odd people and eliminated the positions of...
I thought it was 600 and something.
Initially it was 600, but this report is saying that it's 100, or a total of 346, 205 vacant positions and 141 layoffs. So there's a lot of different, pieces going around here. So regardless, you're laying off employees and then saying, well, we get to pay ourselves bonuses.
How many CBC employees do you suppose that they could have paid their entire year's salary using Catherine Tate's bonus alone?
Well, here's the thing. One of the kind of going rates for government jobs is they're near 100 grand a year. Okay? So think about this. The 141 positions. Multiply that by 100 grand. That comes out to about $14.1 million. That's awfully close to the total bonus amount that they paid everybody.
It is. Isn't that odd?
So they better be hauling Catherine Tate back into the Heritage Committee. And I hope they admonish her and make a recommendation to hold her in contempt of Parliament. Because this is unacceptable. You are getting paid $1.38 billion of taxpayer money and you're coming in and lying to parliamentary committee? I don't think so. Oh, this is the first time I've ever been, talked to this way in my career. Well, then it's about 40 years too late. But you know what? Better late than never.